Hi,
Oh.
and welcome back to another episode of Mindless Podcast. It was brought to my attention by someone that I said welcome back last time, even though that was our first episode. I
Who
don't know
brought that
why,
up?
but we're not going to
It's
make that
don't
mistake
worry
again.
about it.
So, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about weird middle school stories, because we all have a lot of those. And most of them involve teachers, which we're not going to mention by name, because
Privacy.
Privacy issues.
Alright,
I think
so
stupid.
let's get started.
Okay, so a riddle this episode. Forward I am heavy, but backward I am not. What am I?
Please tell me you guys don't know this one either.
No. I don't know this one. A boulder that you're pushing up a hill.
No.
You know, because if you're pushing it up a hill, then it's heavy when you're pushing it up the hill. But when it's going down the hill, it's got gravity, so you don't have to push it
It's
as
so
hard.
heavy. It's just crime.
Well, no,
Wait.
if you're on the top of the hill pushing it down the hill, then
That's if you can get around it and push it down.
After this, I'll explain why we lost our brain cell and therefore cannot do riddles as well. So
Exactly.
we can explain cover art.
Perfect
Alright.
transition.
yeah, great segue.
Alright, hold up. I actually want to figure this out.
Yeah. Well, if we don't figure it out, Eva will just tell us, like the plebeians we are, right? Or will it forever remain a mystery?
Wait,
Are you
moving
planning on
forward,
telling
is
us
that
if we
mean?
don't get it right?
I hope she
Yeah, I'll
does. I
tell
can't
you.
live like this without knowing the answer.
Wait, it's heavy
I-
moving
Do you want-
forward.
Forward I am heavy, but backward I am not. What am I?
Yeah, it
What
doesn't
does that
necessarily say
mean?
it's light. It's just it's not heavy. It's so short and like purposely obscure. Like you could probably argue like several different objects like could work for this. You could argue the case for that. So that's what makes it so difficult.
Gravity.
What does gravity go forward and backwards? Is that how that
know.
works?
I don't think
Do
so.
you want a hint?
Yes,
Yes.
please.
I already said the answer in the riddle.
Forward it is heavy, backwards it's not.
Sorry?
None of those things are objects.
Forward.
God,
I don't
that
know.
Forward?
was no fun.
Forward
It
is
was-
heavy backwards.
But how's
I
forward
like
heavy?
me, but that doesn't make any sense.
Forward is definitely
I don't got a pot belly. Like I eat a lot, but I don't got a pot
forward
belly.
is back.
Wait,
What?
what?
Like
Wait,
forward.
yeah,
in-
You're not
Oh.
heavy.
I
Is
thought
it
you were just
the-
saying things
the
like out
forward
of
is heavy,
context. I was very
backwards is not.
confused.
Is it it?
No.
Is it? Oh,
It's a
it's.
part of it.
I know what it is. I know what it is. It's ton.
Yeah, it's not. It's the word not.
No, forwards it's heavy. Backwards
Yeah.
it's not. So it's ton because ton backwards is not. Not backwards is ton.
Yeah.
What?
The answer is the word not.
No, the answer is the word
the
ton
word ton.
because not backwards is ton. So therefore,
It would be
because it's backwards it is not. So it has to be whatever is the opposite of not is, which is ton. So ton is the answer to the riddle.
Okay,
Oh.
so that's sort of kind of an example of why we don't have a brain cell. The bird stole it. And
I'm so-
long
wait,
story
wait, wait.
short, yeah,
Sorry, that was just that. I thought you were going to. I thought you were going to leave it. I thought you were going to be like that. I thought you were using that riddle as the explanation for why we didn't have a brain cell. And I was about to be very confused.
oh, yeah, that we take very long to solve these riddles because we don't have a brain cell anymore. Thanks a lot to Eva. Love you, but you fed it to a bird. Our
It's-
communal
Listen,
brain
it's
cell,
not.
I
It's
gave
not
it
our
to you.
fault. You
I got
couldn't,
you
like,
guys.
keep track of it,
Eagle
right?
is the safest way of transport for a brain cell because, it attacks, it flies really fast. And yeah, but I gave it to her and Eva was like,
Oh yeah, I fed it to that bird over there.
and she sends us a photo. So our brain cell is gone.
No, well,
How do we
got it.
obtain a new one? When did we
Yeah,
get the
It's
first
like this is the reason it took me like 2 weeks to draw the art for the thing, and also the reason I don't even have a background for it yet. This is you've stolen my artistic ability. You've taken the brain cell and you gave it to a bird, and now none of us can function like proper human beings.
Now there's a
How are we
genius
supposed
bird
to
somewhere,
do
and we all know.
online school now.
I like
Like-
how everyone's just bashing Eva and she just
I know, I'm just like
listens to
smiling
this.
We
at the
love
pros of
you,
the eagle.
But like, there's just a genius bird flying around somewhere, and I don't like that because I don't like birds
like-
at all.
It-
Like, imagine a genius bird just comes in and is like, "Hey, heard you don't like birds," and just like
Punches
pecks
you
at
in the
me.
face? That'd be great.
Why do you assume birds are always so like hostile? Birds are good
They
little
need a
are.
video of
creatures.
Pigeons
that.
are absolutely horrible. They're like
Well, pigeons are only horrible to you because you're horrible to them. All right.
they bullied me when I was 5, waiting for a
Did they
BART
do?
train. So
Oh
We're
no, I
getting
was
way off
bullied
topic.
by pigeons. When I was little, I used
I
to
thought
chase
they were gonna
pigeons
eat me.
around. You
I
thought
thought they were gonna eat
how
me while I
small
waited for the train to
were
come.
you? How small? Like,
I was
you
How
thought
big were these
you were
pigeons?
short enough to be carried away by a bunch of pigeons? Like,
probably like
I
I
know
was
you're not
holding an
that
umbrella
tall,
once.
still.
I was holding an umbrella once and it was really windy and I flew. Like flew. Like my grandpa barely
Oh
caught me by
my
the arm
god,
and
Mary
had to
Poppins
drag
too.
me home.
Mary
Like I
Poppins the
flew. I was like,
sequel.
Grandpa, and there's just little Melanie like flying over Mary Poppins style, like gone. All
Just
right, so let's
gone with
get
the
into
wind.
today's topic because it's gonna go so off track if we continue. All right. So the first story is about a certain teacher that most of us had had. I don't think Heather's had here.
All of
I hadn't.
Sure.
you
Yeah.
said it. This teacher.
We need to keep that in. We can bleep it out, so the name isn't
Yeah.
heard. But we need to keep that in to show how idiotic you had. And yes, I had this teacher.
Yeah, we all had
Is
it.
it?
Yeah, so just to clarify, we've all had, this is a science teacher that we had in 8th grade. Me and Seneca had the same class period, and she
Yeah,
was
it wasn't
just a lot. It
It
was a
wasn't a
lot.
great way to start the
Yeah.
day, honestly.
I was.
So
I feel kind of bad because she was always very nice to me. But her
Okay.
classroom was just right down the hall from English teacher. Since I had English and science, I would like try and dally as much as I could, but I'd always be like the first one in the classroom because I had to walk like 100 feet to get there. So then science teacher would always be like, oh, like, hi Heather, how are you doing? How's your weekend? She would always be very nice to me, which is why I felt sort of bad. She wasn't good at
she
teaching.
just wasn't the smartest teacher there. Let's just
But you felt bad. I yelled at her and made her cry.
you made her cry. I can't believe you did that. But
I mean,
for
like,
mine,
she
one
kind of.
day there. Yeah, for mine, one day there was a fire alarm that went off, and turns out it was because the storage room next to us that had like connected to our room. There was burning popcorn in there, and it wasn't like on fire or anything. It was just like burning. There was just smoke, and so
Just smoke.
just smoke, no big deal. So then
Like, as a kid.
everyone's heading out of their classrooms, like walking out, like, and we're like, okay, let's go now. I was like, no, it's just burning pop.
You said her name again.
Oh my goodness! We need to keep a
Wait,
count
I
of
should
how
actually,
many
like, be
times
more
you've
conscious
said
of
it.
Okay, so
count of how many
so then
times you
she's
said her
like,
name.
yeah, you guys, it's just burning popcorn. No one's gonna get hurt. It's fine. And she like locks one of the doors, and there's 2 doors out to the hallway. And she's yelling at other people that are coming out of other classrooms to tell, like, she's like, go back in. It's just burning popcorn. And everyone just ignores her and continues walking. I remember seeing you guys walk out of your classroom, like,
Yeah.
what the heck is
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah.
And we weren't allowed to go out. She's like, just stay here. It's gonna be fine. And I
Some
think
kids
she
are
was like
barging
talking
out.
from one door, and we realized that she didn't really lock the other one. She just like closed it and didn't lock it completely. So we just started heading out, and then we
Yeah.
couldn't find her. I don't think we found her on the field. She came out like minutes later. Like we were just waiting around. Like we don't even know where we're supposed to stand.
Wait,
So
did
we're
she
just like
stay in
waiting
the
around. We're like,
classroom?
oh well.
Not gonna lie, I feel like I feel like locking students in a classroom when there's a literal fire alarm going
You're
off
cutting
is
me out.
like low key not.
Very
Illegal is a
responsible.
strong word, but I feel like
Could
it
it
is
be
sort of
attempted murder?
low key against the law.
Just
No,
saying.
it's like no.
Like-
I mean, I wouldn't go that far. It's just sort of like failure to like comply with safety regulations, sort of thing. It's like if there's a fire alarm going off, the first thing you do always is to get the heck out of the building, right? And so if you're keeping
No.
your students from getting the heck out of the building, then
There's gonna be a
that's
slight
like
issue.
you're sort of like directly standing in the way of their safety because like I don't know what you want more class time. It's not like the students are going to pay attention anyway. There's a loud alarm going like brr, brr, brr. No one can
And the burning
concentrate.
popcorn was literally like 20 feet away from us.
Yeah.
So the smell
How did
was
she
really
not get-
bad.
Wait, we could smell it from our classroom, so.
Yeah, we could
Yeah,
smell as we
walking out
walked
the
down the
hall,
hall.
it was gross. So like, ugh.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I remember because me, Seneca, and Heather all had the English teacher, which was right down the hall. And so when the fire alarm went off, we all went outside. And as we're walking down the hall, a kid from your class, from the science teacher, they just bust through the door, and he's just frantic. He's like, "She walked us in."
Yeah, we were all kind of concerned. We were like,
Yeah,
what? Like, I remember peeking into the door that had just been opened, and there was a bunch of like frantic looking children
yeah,
sitting
a bunch of
inside.
children just shuffling
No,
out, like,
it's
"Let
half
us
of
in."
them half of them just joined our class a bit like merged.
Yeah. No,
I
yeah,
think
all the students just merged out.
did the English teacher like help them with that? Because I feel like I remembered someone telling her, or like someone, or like maybe that was it. Maybe I was just like, oh, hopefully the English teacher can settle things with the science teacher and let the students
I
come
think,
out or
like,
something. But
in
I
that
think she was
situation, you worry about the
stupid.
students that you do have, and just hope that students that do come at you, they just join in with your line, and so they're
Yeah.
safe. But she can't go back into the hall. Go tell that
Yeah.
teacher, hey, your class is like waiting for
well,
you.
I don't know. I meant like while the students were still trapped, were still sort of like stuck in the classroom. I feel like that's the sort of thing the English teacher would do, is sort of like while she was walking past, being like, hey, wait a minute,
There were a
just
lot of
because
students. I don't know. I don't
she
remember.
probably didn't notice because she was busy hurting us outside. Probably.
Okay, so yeah, I had
I
the
wasn't
science
here for
teacher
this.
first period, and so one time I walked in, and she came over to me. She's like, "Oh, my back and my neck really hurt or something," and I was like, "Oh, sorry."
I like your impression of her. It's kind of
She's
scarily
a very
accurate.
short lady, okay, and then
I'm
she's
so
very
glad I
petite,
wasn't
very
there for
small.
it.
Yeah, no, Seneca wasn't there for it. She came in kind of late. Okay, but
I
anyways,
always
and
do.
then she sat on the table, like on our desks, and she like tilted her head to the side, and she was like, "Hey, can you just like push my head down for me?" And I was like, okay. So I just took off my bag and I threw it wherever, and I'm just over here like pushing her head down, and I don't want to kill her. And I'm just really awkwardly pushing, and I'm like bending my knees because I can't just stand. I'm like bending awkwardly on the ground. This one girl took out her phone and she started recording me, and you can just see me like mouth swearing at the camera, going as I like press her head down, and I'm like, it was so awkward. I'm like, it's just the thought of like touching your teacher's head. It's like it's just kind of bizarre. You know what I mean? I don't get that close to my teachers.
It's
You know,
like
yeah.
it's like I've heard that story before, but every time you tell it, it's still kind of the same sort of like like slightly unnerving. It's like that seems like boundaries being broken.
But it gets better. It gets better because then not only was she sitting, she full out laid fucking T-pose down, okay, on the table. It was like one of those big like rectangular desks, again, like 4 out of whatever, and she spread out her arms and I don't know, she called on some other poor soul, and she was like, "Hey, you and you, can you like pull my arm?" So we're trying to pull her arms apart as she's laying on the table in the morning while students are filing in. You got these sleepy, tired looking students, and they're walking in like, what the hell? Because the table she chose was right next to the door. Like, I had to work on that table after she got up.
Oh, it was
We just kind of pulled her arms
moving.
apart, and we're still like, I don't want to dislocate anything. I
Also,
don't remember who else,
it's
but
such an awkward request to ask of your students. They're like, imagine, okay, imagine walking up to your teacher and being like, "Hey, can you help me stretch my
my head."
back out?" Like that's so like
but you need
weird.
it takes 2 people, so I don't remember who with someone else. It was just across from me looking eye contact. We're like, this isn't right, is it? No, it's not.
Just like, "Eee."
The gentlest of tug of war. Oh, it's so awkward.
Oh. Right. I'm hungry. I should have eaten before this.
Any other science teacher stories you'd like to contribute?
Honestly, I spent most of that class chatting with the people at my table, and that's it, because all of the work she gave us was like super easy and really boring, and sort of like, so it's like I would just sort of like do that, and then I would doodle on the back of my worksheets. Some very bad. I kept all of the sort of like more detailed drawings I kept just so I can look back on them. They're pretty bad. They're pretty bad. They're pretty poor drawings. I had to toss some of them because they made me feel pain. They made me feel pain because they were so bad.
Sure. That one time we had that science experiment. So basically, we had a card, and you're basically supposed to measure like, was it speed?
Wind.
Acceleration, wasn't it?
It
Acceleration?
was acceleration. We did two
Yeah.
things. One of them, you just held that speed thing meter,
Oh,
whichever
that was
way you
shoddy.
landed.
It was
never
so like, yeah.
It stayed at 1 meter. I never got it. And then that one time we did the car thing, and so basically you had a ramp. You push it down and see how far it went and took how much time. And we had this full 2-day argument about how you can't divide speed over time. Like she had like 5 miles per hour at like 0 seconds, which made absolutely no sense.
You
And
can't
I
find
had
anything
argued.
by zero.
I argued for the whole day. She didn't get it. Some other kid had to come over and argue with her. She was like, "Oh, you're right. You can't do that." The next day she comes over and she's like, "Yep, no, you
I
can
think-
still do it."
Didn't she just not like you, Seneca? I thought she just didn't like you.
No, I like to say I quotes called her feisty. You know, she was feisty.
Wait, you called her feisty?
No,
Or she
the
called you
teacher.
feisty?
Teacher. She was like talking to me about Seneca. We had gone this field trip, and that's the
Why
thing.
was
The
I
thing
the
is that she's
topic?
really nice. Yeah, she really likes me in Seneca, but we're like it's not really reciprocated that way.
Oh,
So
ouch.
sorry if you're listening. I'm sorry. She's probably not listening. But we were like on this field trip, so we were on the bus, and she chose to sit right in front of me, like the row in front of me. And she would just turn around because she got lonely. She started talking, and she knows me and Seneca are really good friends because we had the same class. And she's like, "Oh, I like Seneca. She's feisty, but I like it." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
I hate it. I'm so glad she didn't go up to me and tell me that.
Feisty.
Well, now you know. You're feisty.
Yeah, that's your impressions of her are spot on though, Eva. I would like to point that out every time you do something, the way you sort of like move your head and your shoulders and like feisty. I can just imagine her doing it.
Oh, no, I don't want
that's even
to.
worse.
Yeah,
Energy
anyway.
we did not need.
Like,
No.
another time for one of the drills, this time it wasn't actually like real where the burning popcorn was, but
Oh, it was
for
a
this
lockdown
drill,
thing,
it
right?
was like the barricade one where you want to lock the door and then like push like
Yeah.
tables on top of it. So for our class, I remember the alarm went off and they're like, "Oh yeah, there's a lockdown drill or whatever," and I was like, "Okay, cool." So then we're about to go and like bring a table over there. She's like, and she just puts a bar stool in front of a locked door, and then one of those little like foldable poster boards that you brought to science fair, and she just leaned it against like there's the bar stool, and then on top of it was the poster board, and the poster board just slightly leans against the door as well. And I'm just wondering, like, someone could probably kick the door in, and the things would just fall. And
Who's
like
that stopping?
the end.
So
The
funny.
end.
It stopped
Yeah.
me.
Oh my god. Miss Newager's like, "We got poster board, don't even try it." He's like, "Oh shoot, you're right. Okay." See ya."
Yeah. Like she even started playing ping pong, I think, with herself. She just had a ping pong ball, and she's like, "Who wants to play with me?" And she had
I thought
another
she
like
made Benson play.
paddle thing.
No,
for
no,
it.
no,
But then she
someone else.
started playing on
Who's
her
that?
own, and she'd hit it, and then it would go across the room, of course. And she's like, "Can someone get that for me?" And I was just sitting there the entire time. Like, I think we go under like our tables after that. Whatever tables I left,
yeah.
you usually go under it or hide from the windows. And we're just sitting there wondering, like, this is how we're gonna die. Like, we're gonna die if someone comes here. There are no questions asked. There is no defense. Like, anyone can kick down a poster board. I'm sure a toddler,
know.
if the door was open, could have gotten in.
At
And just
that
been
point,
like-
just like if they break in, you can just throw her in front, just run for it. She never locks the other door, anyways.
I know.
Yeah.
You imagine walking through the window because she had like a really big window. So can you imagine if she just didn't close it all the way and like the actual intruder comes in, just peers in, and sees some poster board and this
Ping-pong.
really short. Okay, no, guys, she was like our height. Like
She was my height.
Shorter than me.
people would come in from the office with like stuff for the students, and they would just look around because they could not see the teacher. Like that's yeah.
I think she was like Melanie's height, right?
Yeah,
No,
we lost her during one of the drills when we went outside of the field. We were like, where is she? We can't see her. But thank goodness we knew where our line was by then, so we just sort of kind of stood there and waited for her to get there. Turns out she was talking to another teacher and just left
What you
us.
do in a crisis.
Um,
That's sort of her barricade though is kind of a good contrast to
This
our other
oh,
teacher we had, an English teacher she was a very good teacher. And I think pretty much everyone liked her, right? Everyone who had
Yeah.
her liked her.
I think
It
it
was
was
sort of like the opposite. The science teacher didn't have a lot of respect, so like no one would ever do what she said. But the English teacher, people liked the English teacher. So the English teacher didn't, or like hardly had to like enforce sort of like punishments or whatever, because she would just
Yeah.
say, "Hey, don't do this thing," and people wouldn't do that thing, or she'd say, "Hey, do this thing," and people would do that thing because they liked her and respected her. But one thing I think is a good contrast to a science teacher and her shoddy door blocking skills is Miss who went on. Oh shoot! Gosh darn it! I did it too.
same.
It's fine, just keep going.
Oh, I'm not. I'm a hypocrite. Was the English teacher, um, who like went on sort of like a kind of a rant isn't the right word. Sort of like a mini tirade about how she would like literally fist fight someone who tried to get in the door to give
I
us time to
know.
escape. Because she was like, "You're my students. It's my job to protect you and keep you safe, and I will fight someone for that."
Oh no, yeah, no. Like when we had the blockade drill in her classroom, I felt safe, and we were all ready. We were like, you know what? Can we help you? You know, like we got you.
We
As opposed to the science
fist fight them
teacher,
with
where
you.
they're all like, "We're
I
gonna
was
die.
just
This
like,
is it.
wow.
This is it."
That's also like during Halloween, and I got this lecture twice because I had her both English and drama. But for Halloween, she gave like a whole mini lecture on like being safe while trick or treating, and like uh
I
whether
don't
you're
remember this.
giving out candy or you're going to a Halloween party or you're going trick or treating with younger siblings or whatever. She gave like a whole little like safety PSA, which was I think was very nice. I mean, it was normally when teachers are like telling you to do something or not to do something because that's not safe, it like grates a little bit because you constantly get teachers being like reckless young children, brah brah, do this, don't do that. So it's like it's a bit much. um but
Imagine people talk like that.
If she was just like that, guys, be safe. You know, the safety. Yeah, yeah.
safety. But but she managed to give the lecture in a way that was both amusing and not like condescending, which I think is was one of her strong suits. Is that she wasn't was that she like talked to us sort of like I mean she knew we were her students, right? But she talked to us like equals, as opposed to sort of like teenagers, sort of like kind of beneath you authority wise. Like she knew she could like tell us what to do and boss us around or whatever, but she respected us, which I think is why people respected her.
Melanie, do you
You
want
guys
to tell
want to
your
talk
story
about
now?
that little thing she had with the police where they were like fighting over the
Oh,
door?
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what I was
Senna
gonna
can
go
sign
into.
for that one.
so basically, it was Eva and Heather. We were all in the same class, and we had the lockdown drill, same as Melanie. They had their whole ping pong thing. Our teacher was over here like fighting with the police, trying to close the door, to argue with them. While teachers had to, no, the other students are like were waiting behind him, holding a table, ready to just throw it on the door after she finished fighting the police. 10 out of 10.
What had happened is that she was trying to close the door, obviously, and do all the protocol, but the problem was she got stuck, and so the police were there, like
They were
monitoring
asking
what's
to
happening.
help, right?
Yeah, no, because they saw that she was struggling, and so he came over and was like, "Do you want help?" But she was like full in like barricade, like, "No, we're not letting this person in." And so he was just trying to help, but she was like, "No, no, 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 no," setting good example. Don't let them in. So yeah, she's just fighting with the police. It's fine. And yeah, the kids were behind waiting with the table to like prop it up against the door. So.
Oh yeah, she made
Everyone
us
else
do
was just kind of
drills the
sitting
next
there.
day. She was like timing us to see how quickly we could put up the tables there. She was like, "You got to get this right." I think with you guys, the police came to you guys first because they usually check in at the office, and then
Yeah.
you guys were like the closest door there. So that's why
Oh,
she probably didn't have
really?
time to do it first. Yeah.
What did she have trouble with? She couldn't like close it or lock it.
Yeah, she
I
I
couldn't
don't
don't think
close
she
it
remember.
or
locked
lock
it in
I think she
time.
just
They like
didn't like
made
get
an
it in
announcement and
time.
the police just come right over.
And they came over, and so they were like trying to get in, or because like how they come and they like bang on the door whenever like whenever
Make
there's
sure
a
like no
lockdown
one's
or whatever.
making any noise.
Which is honestly, it's kind of intimidating, right? Because you're all like sitting under tables, and it's generally, if you're doing it right, it's quiet, and then out of the times you just hear like they're really loud about it too.
Yeah. But they don't
My
ever say
knuckles
anything. They
hurt
literally just
now.
knock and then they leave. They don't even say, "Oh, good job" or what. No, they just leave.
Yeah,
Like,
you
okay.
just hear bang, 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 bang. They move on, which I think is supposed to be. I'm gonna have bruises on my knuckles. I hit the desk too hard.
Why didn't you hit it like this? Like
I don't
when
know.
you go like on the
knocked
side of
like
your hand, it
this,
doesn't
so I
hurt.
was knocking like this. Instead of
Does the same job.
yeah, I mean that doesn't. I should have done that. It doesn't hurt as much, but I'm an idiot. We've already established that we don't have a brain cell anymore, which is why I do things like knock really hard on the desk with the wrong part of my hand and bruise my knuckles, because I don't have any brain cells to stop me from doing stupid things.
We're
Eva,
unprofessional.
we're not. We're really not.
Right. So in 6th grade, I was a TA for this teacher, and he knew I was like super crafty because I had been in his class like a few years ago, and so he asked me if I could make him a Black Panther costume for Halloween. All I ended up doing was making like I just found this like mask template, and I got like a black sweatshirt and just painted like all the little like things on in white and stuff. But anyways, well, I finished that and I gave it to him, and he tried it on, and he asked me to take a photo of him, and so I did. And then when I showed it to him, he looked down and he was like, "Pretty good, but I could lose a couple pounds." And like not processing, I just said, "Yeah." and then I was like, and then immediately I was like, "Shoot." Because when you're just like, yeah, like you just
Yeah,
nodding along with
when the teachers
like,
talk to you, and you just sort of like nod and agree. That's so bad. That's so.
and
Oh
just
my
silence,
God,
and
say
just silence.
anything?
I just walk. Nope, nope, nope.
Wait,
Walk back to his desk.
out of curiosity, could you tell us which teacher it was?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it was
want to
Mr.
know. I don't
Oh.
know him. I
He's
never had
so
him.
like he's already sort of awkward.
It was just, it was.
Poor dude.
So that was today's episode of weird middle school stories, right? So this is our first episode we're filming of the day. So the next two are gonna be us in the same clothes, talking about the same subject. But
Still a
just
sweaty.
We may not have a brain cell, but we're not gross. We're filming this all the same day. Don't judge us.
Yes.
Thank you.
okay.